Ever had that pit in your stomach when your video files are scattered across 5 different hard drives and you don't really have an actual backup plan? Yeah, that was me. But this mini tower right here might be the perfect beginner backup solution for you. What's up? My name's Royce and welcome to my channel where I talk about all things film and tech. And today we're talking about the Orico MiniTower for your Mac Mini M4. It's a hybrid storage solution that's designed to sit right next to your Mac Mini. So Orico did send the MiniTower over for me to check out, but my thoughts and opinions are my own. They don't control what I say, and I only make videos on gear I actually like, so let's talk about it. So as a creator, losing files isn't a matter of if, it's when. I used to juggle a bunch of different SSDs with zero backup strategy. Then when I look into backup solutions, they look too complicated and most importantly, expensive. The MiniTower is like training wheels for a NAS. You can install multiple drives, it has RAID support, hub ports, all without the intimidating setup of a big server system. And inside the MiniTower, you get 2 SATA bays up to 24 terabytes total each, one M.2 NVMe slot up to 8 terabytes, which equals to a potential 56 terabytes of capacity. This is a 10 gigabit system, which means you'll only get speeds around 1,000 megabytes a second, which means you can use it as an editing solution depending on the type of content you shoot. But for me personally, I wouldn't edit directly off of this thing. 10 gigabits a second isn't enough for my heavier projects. It's fine as a backup drive, but not as my daily editing disk. Now, the front of the MiniTower has an SD slot and a TF card slot that are both 3.0 speeds, 2 USB ports, one USB 3.2, and the other is 2.0. Then the power button. On the back, you get the PC-in USB-C port that plugs into your Mac Mini. Then you have 2 more USB-A 2 ports. Then you also have the RAID switches here where you set up how you want your RAID system to work. So for Mac Mini M4 owners, this should feel like a natural extension to your computer. The aluminum shell looks sleek, and the cooling fan plus dual vents should keep the drives nice and cool. But we'll see about that. Now let's talk about price. The MiniTower goes for $116.99, which is a good price compared to other tube-based systems that usually start closer to $200 to $300. But keep in mind that price is before you add the drives for it. So for storage prices, a 4 terabyte SATA HD costs between $80 to $100. Buying 2 for 8 terabytes of storage plus the MiniTower would be between $276 to $316. Now, 4 terabyte NVMe cost between $200 to $300. The MiniTower only supports 1, so the cost would come out between the $516 to $716. But this wouldn't make sense to do this because you can get double the storage for half of the price with the 2 SATA HDs. So most likely, if you wanted to get an NVMe, it would be in addition to one of the SATA options, which could equal between $500 to $1,000. Obviously, the price goes up even more if you want 8 terabytes and up variants. But then at those price points, it's most likely looking too high for those looking for a simple backup solution. So going with SATA HDs will give you the most affordable option. However, they are more vulnerable with their internal spinning disks and they can be damaged. Trust me, speaking from personal experience. But with SSDs, you don't have that problem, and they're less likely to fail on you than these old school HDs. So this is something to keep in mind when making those decisions. All right, so let's drop in a couple of drives, set it up, and see how it performs. The top is magnetic, so it makes swapping drives nice and easy. Just pop the lid, slide your HDs, screw in the NVMe on the side if you've got one, and you're set. The MiniTower supports RAID 0 and RAID 1, and I'll break down each one if you're not familiar. RAID 0 combines both of your drives together to make one larger drive, and utilizes the faster read-write speeds. But with this setup, it's more vulnerable because if one of the drives happen to fail, you'll lose everything. With RAID 1, you're utilizing one drive to store your files, and the other one acts as a clone. So whatever you put on the main drive gets automatically backed up to the second drive. So if one drive dies, you still have your files on the backup. You're good to go. However, this setup is strictly for backup purposes as the speed of the drives will be greatly reduced to prioritize security and your backup. Now, important note, the RAID switch on the MiniTower works upside down, bottom to top. So just make sure you pick the right setting before you start using it, and they explain it in the manual as well. Now let's set up the RAID system on the MiniTower. I'm going with RAID 1, so I need to set the little things in the back to that RAID 1 switch and make sure one side is up, the other side is down. Then I need to press the set button that's in this little spacing here to confirm it. Once it's plugged into the computer, you can see here only one of the drives is shown, which means that it is set up properly. And now I just need to format it. Since this is a traditional hard drive, I'm going to set it as Mac OS journaled. And we can double check to make sure this is set up again properly by opening up the Blackmagic Disk Speed Test app. And as you can see here, the speed has been greatly reduced because of that RAID 1 to prioritize the backing up and security of our files. Now let's talk about the pros and cons. First, the pros. It's got a sleek design that pairs well with the Mac Mini M4. The tower form factor feels less bulky than other backup systems. The SD card reader on the front is super convenient. And you got your USB ports for peripherals, things like that. And the magnetic top makes drive swapping really easy. Another pros, I was actually surprised with how quiet the tower was. It is mentioned on the website that it keeps a low noise profile, but it was nice to see this in practice, especially at a cheaper price point. Some cons while making this video is the back part that covers the NVMe drive. It's magnetic like the top of the MiniTower, but I didn't have a problem putting it back in place initially, but it wasn't until I tried showcasing it in the video that I could not put it back and I couldn't get it to stick. But after a few times, it finally stayed and was good to go. But that's just something to keep in mind, which was a little bit unfortunate to find out. Also, we got to talk about the really short cable that comes with the MiniTower. Now, the design is really cool, but it doesn't actually reach the Mac Mini M4, let alone any computer or system you're trying to link this to. The only configuration I saw is if you put the MiniTower on top of the Mac Mini M4, which just looks ridiculous. So I wouldn't want to do this myself. So it actually looks like you're going to want to go with the included longer cable. They're both 10 gigabit speed cables, so you're not going to see a difference in that regard. It's just unfortunate because the shorter cable does look really cool. I just wish they would have made this a little bit longer. I don't know why they did this. Including an M2 slot is nice, but limiting it to USB 3.2 Gen 2 kind of underdelivers the NVMe speeds. Kind of pointless. And since the Mac Mini doesn't have an SD slot, it would have been perfect for the Orico to kind of fill that gap at full speed. But here's the thing. If you're looking at this strictly as a backup device, none of those speed limitations actually matter. Backups don't need to be blazing fast. It needs to be safe and reliable. So if you're new to backup systems and NAS style type setups, the Orico MiniTower is an affordable, approachable way to get started. Use it for backups, pair it with a faster hub for editing like the Orico MiniMate, and you got the perfect beginner package. And if you want to learn more about the Orico MiniMate, check out my last video where I did a review on it. And that's it for this video. If you found it helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this. And until next time, I'll catch y'all later.